you, man.
I'm gonna slide past you real quick. Thank you. All right, we are live. So.
Good evening, everybody. Again, I want to thank everybody for your support of the Community Relationship Committee. And we want to also thank the committee for the job well done. And we pray that we will continue to have this conversation about our community, that it might bring us together as one. The first thing we have on the agenda is the improvement of the last minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the last minute.
I'll say.
Every motion is second that the minute be approved as read. Are you ready to vote? Are everybody in favor by show of hand? All in favor is the same. Okay, now old business. We're so happy to have Mr. Tim Gordy, person that is the executive director of the ACT Community Outreach, and he worked with the homeless. And we're going to ask him to come forward now to give us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tim Gordy. I was the director, Mr. James Gill was just talking about, director of ACT's Outreach in Georgia. ACT stands for Always Choose to Serve. I began with the homeless ministry. A friend of mine, he has a ministry called Internal Impact, and it's a little short story, but I saw the video he did one day. He started from the streets of Thomaston and began, went to the streets of Atlanta, talking to the homeless, feeding them, loving on them, sharing the word of God with them. And what I thought of a homeless person was I didn't want nothing to do with them. They was on drugs, they get a job or anything like that. But let's go on to the next story. He had to leave, Daniel had to leave Thomaston, so I began another ministry called ACT's Outreach Georgia. And what we do, we started working around here. Well, actually, I started going back and forth to Atlanta a lot, Columbus, and feeding the homeless. And somebody messaged me and says, "What about your own people?" So I stopped, and I stopped what I was doing and took a look at it. There were people here in Upshur County hurting. And I stopped. I began helping people here in Upshur County. I just don't help the homeless. I help people in need that need some help with food, a little bit of, like I said, food, groceries. We help with a little bit of financial, like gas, help with gas or anything like that. We can't do much because our what we don't have as a much money as we got coming in. But what we also help is we have kids get school supplies each year. So this year we ain't gonna be able to do it because of a little conflict. Well, my mom passed away last week, so I had to. It's been a long couple of weeks with her, and we decided just to back off of that. And I understand the school system is not going to do school supplies this year. Also, I help families get Christmas each year. we helped, I want to say 80 families this past year, just in Upshur County alone. Maybe a family or two in Manchester, or in Marywood County, or Pike. Like I said, we rely on donations from the community, or I rely on donations from a couple of churches. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling along. I get nervous. But I rely on donations from a couple of churches and businesses. I go out and look for sponsorships. They go out and look for sponsorships, and we go from there. The homeless here in Upshur County, we had meetings a couple times at we have each month at Silvertown Baptist Church, but due to the COVID, we hadn't had meetings. I had to go do it online. So, but the homeless here in Upshur County are some of your own, not all of them. Like I said, the health department has met with me and discussed some people, many people are living in their cars just in Upshur County alone. And we can't put a number on it because we don't know. And I've talked to the job corps down here behind Peter Wiggly. The biggest thing about, they have homeless people coming there wanting jobs, but they can't get jobs because they ain't got an address. So, I thought about something down the road. I said something about a shelter a couple of years ago, and I don't think it was a good name for it. So I'm putting it out toward the community, a community outreach center. I have plans how it would go out, but I don't have them today. I can shoot my story, but trying to remember everything else I'm thinking of talk about. Sorry. Like I said, I'm doing something all year long with the homeless, trying to get them. I put them up in a motel room. We're good with Days Inn and Quality Inn. They if the funds allow it, to put them up in a motel room. But anybody got any questions?
I got one.
Yes.
What location by the number where we can find these peoples?
I haven't been able to go on foot. I had, like I said, December I told them I had a knee replacement, and I hadn't been able to go on foot. But I had other people say they had been, and I'm getting with a couple of friends of mine, and we're fixing to start going to some locations. I know there's some down by the creek, by Walmart, across from Thomaston Ford, back behind Thomaston Ford. There were several other places that we're going to look to see what we can do. I know some of them ain't our own. We don't know where they're coming from. I was told one church was bringing them in, but we got to meet with Jeff Deal from City of Refuge. We met Thomas, the police department chief, met with us, and they're not bringing them in. And I heard another thing, Griffin Police Department is bringing them down during the night and dropping them off. But I do not know that. So I investigated to investigate how they get here. So I didn't know that. I had another question myself, how they get here. There's too many here. Some of you local and some of you are not. There's just too many that are not. And when you go up to them and ask them, they won't tell you. They won't tell you at all. So we go out to square one, trying to figure out where they're coming from.
Could you, I know you don't know the real figure, but through your travel, through community, trying to minister to them, what you said most of them was on north side or south side?
North side. I do know there's some on Avenue G area, in tents, but most of them are in the north side of the town. You got the ones you see walking up down the road. Some of them maybe be your local, and some not. Then you got some that are just passing through, going from Florida to Atlanta, or Atlanta to Florida, or just going to another state. So I talk to them when I see them. Somebody will message me, and I go talk to them if I find them.
Anybody have any questions?
How do you, someone told you that they're dropping them off, or have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. Somebody told me they was dropping them off. I've been wanting to. I don't know. It said sometime through the night or early morning, but I'm gonna find out for sure if I have to go out and do some investigating myself. But I'm gonna have a couple people that's in with me to help keep a lookout. The store, they dropping them off at Circle K, and I'm gonna go talk to them, see if they seen anything. But I want to come back in the near future with some figures for y'all. I've had a community backing on this situation. I mean, one man or one person can't do it alone. I do have volunteers to help, and some of the churches to help, and some of the businesses to help. But I have to have the community backing. If we can get this community outreach center, we can get them jobs, we can get them off the street, and get them housing.
Anybody know you have any questions?
I kind of have a question, and I'm trying to actually understand. You talked about your community outreach, and that's not really addressing the homeless population, because there are a lot of things that
Yes.
that you do and that we do to help our community in terms of outreach.
Yes.
You know, but what we're trying to do is identify what our homeless population looks like. And I've been to one of the meetings, and I've heard people talk about homelessness, but we haven't been able to identify a population of people who are homeless, and to say that people are living somewhere with tents. Then see, what we have to do is, if you can't talk to them, then you can't help them.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let me finish.
Yes.
But if we say
Understand.
that people are living somewhere, they may be living there on their own volition. Okay, that means that that's what they want to do.
Yes.
And if you go to any place where there are homeless people, you'll find in that population people who don't want to be homeless, who hope that that's a temporary situation, they want to be out of it. But you also have a population of those people who don't want to be bothered, who
Yes.
want to be, who they say they're not bothering anybody, and they don't want you to bother them. And so I haven't heard where we made the distinction. We talk about people walking up and down the street.
Yes.
That is a mental health issue
Yes.
that we have.
That's
Those
quite
people,
a few of
yeah,
them,
those
yeah.
people are not homeless. Okay.
Yes.
So, and they, for the most part, they don't bother anybody.
Well, I know-
okay.
I
So
know-
I'm just saying, for in your presentation, what we need to know is how do we identify these people. And you have to have some people to go out and get information so that the person that really needs the help can get the help. And right now, it's been kind of abstract. we just don't know who these people are because, you know, nobody has really talked to them and say, okay, this person say, because a person come to me and say they need help, then I'm going to try to use all the resources that I have to try to help them. And if we have people who are on drugs in our community, then, you know, you can call me because I can help people who need to go to a center for drug rehab, whether it's a man or a woman. Jeff Deal can do the same thing.
Yes.
So, you know, so we need to be able to kind of put the resources together and first of all identify the population, people who are homeless but really want help to come out of homelessness, and then we can kind of address those. But if we keep having meetings with this, you know, this number that nobody can identify and people that nobody have talked to, and then we have just people who are saying things that we don't know whether they're true or not. Because I heard that, you know, in your other meeting about people dropping people off here, and whoever's giving us that information can't prove it. You know, so we gotta have some information that's facts, so that we can actually address. And I want to be a part of addressing the problem if we really have one.
That's what I wanted from you. I just my mind's here and not here. So, but like I said, I had my total knee replaced, but I couldn't hardly get out.
That's all right. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, you know, if we're going to address the problem, we have to just identify
And
those
a couple
people.
of friends of mine, we've been talking. We're gonna get out there here soon and discuss this situation, what's going on, so we can find out the number and what we can do for them, and go from there. I know several of them that are walking around here hasn't been an issue. I want to discuss this one too. There's been several homeless people that I've helped get off the street. They had the drug addiction or stuff like that. On several occasions I helped them get off the street. And it's something I said to them, and they have came to me. They had seen me at my church parking lot or seen me on grocery store and came up to me and said, "Dude, you said something to us, and now we're clean." So that got them off the street.
That's pretty miraculous because that doesn't normally happen that way.
Yeah, there's been about 3 or 4 cases like that. So I just praise God for that one. So, but like I said, we're gonna get to that. You know, it's really not crazy, but we're gonna get to the bottom of this. But it's gonna take a few, maybe a week or 2, for us to get up here and find out what's going on and how we can get to them and everything.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's just difficult for us as a committee to, you know, to address it without
understand.
having some facts. Yeah.
I've been, I had gotten some stuff up, but with everything going on, I misplaced it. So I'm gonna get looking for it or go look for it again and go from there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay, I have one more. I heard you said that you was talking about a home, you know, for people, and like I say, I think we as a group of people of Upton County, we should be trying to look and see how we can give you some finance or whatever it takes to do this. Like I'm Reverend Smith, if we have a problem.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, if we have a problem, we need to be foresighted and look down the road. And we just thank you for coming.
Yes.
And like,
I get contacted every day about a certain person needs help, or this mom and kids are getting attacked in a home and stuff like that. So I try to help in all situations that help. I appreciate y'all letting me come.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just moved it over.
but one thing that I mean, I got cleared up. I mean, I hear the word homeless, but then I began to look at the local, and like I said, and we don't have that situation locally because of we got great housing department, we got great home for them, and then but there was an increase of homeless, and you gave us a good idea about them.
Yeah,
somebody bring them in.
When somebody contacts me, some of them are our local people. but not all of them. Like I said, they're coming on in somewhere or getting bused here or somebody's bringing them here. We don't know until we find out this investigation ourselves.
We thank you very much. Is there any other discussion on homelessness? Okay, next thing on the agenda is literacy. Littering is littering. Next is littering. I know that we had a project scheduled where we was going around the community and looking at different areas and find out where there's different litteracy. So is there any discussion on that?
We just need to set a date because the last one ended up being canceled due to lack of attendance. So we need to figure out what date would be best for all of you. I would like to suggest July 26th at 9 a.m. So that would be a Monday, not next Monday, but the following.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay, 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at my calendar, but
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
I just want to, looks like it'll be okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? Okay. We'll make plans for July 26th. Okay, our next discussion is R.E. Lee Institution. It was on the last meeting. It was voted on to table it. And I just want to thank our committee who have taken the time and volunteered their time to come up and sit up on this committee. And I realize it's not going to be pretty, but we love our community so well, and like you said, we will do what it takes to bring our community together. I'm not saying our community is not together, but we need to continue to go forward. So discussion is open for discussion on the R.E. Institution.
Well, I'd like to start off by saying that we aren't the ones that make the decision on all of this. We were formed as a committee to give some suggestions for this. And frankly, the last 3 meetings, we have done nothing but beat a dead horse on this. I know how you're going to vote. I know how I'm going to vote. And that's how it's going to end up, just like that. And then we turn it back over to the city, the council, and they will be the ones to make the decision. But I think this was in 1970, I believe. This was discussed at length and passed. This was fine. And then we're coming up with this other that we want to change things. Well, from what I understand, it's a law. And the state has made this a law because of the historical value in this. I feel like we need to turn it over back to the city, Lord, because this is really not our thing. And we know what the laws are, we know what's been done, and I don't know what else we'll discuss about this.
I plan to bring a recommendation at the next meeting. I have nothing to share today.
I have something to share. It's my recommendation. After considerable self-reflection and introspection, I decided to recommend that the city relocate to to another location. This is not a black or white issue. This is a wrong or right issue for me. If the city has property or another building, I recommend renovating it. I don't believe that it is morally right or just to continue operating this facility that honors and glorifies Ari Lee and the Confederacy who that 1, fought to keep human beings as slaves, 2, fought to overthrow our government in order to preserve slavery. The Georgia Republican-controlled legislature and Governor Brian Kemp, with advisement from many Confederacy organizations, cemented those beliefs when they passed and Governor Kemp signed this legislation, SB 77, into law, thus handcuffing local governments from doing that which is right, moral, and just. Some have talked about contextualization. I thought about this long and hard and came to a decision that it would not work for this building. 1, the name outside and inside of this building is still honoring and glorifying wrong. We would be saying that we agree with Ari Lee trying to overthrow the government to preserve slavery, or quote unquote their way of life. Number 2, how would you contextualize the outside of the building with Ari Lee's name in big bold letters and inside of the Lee Auditorium with the large portraits and curtains memorializing Lee and the Confederate soldiers? How could we possibly contextualize this? I could in good conscience, when considering my recommendation, I thought about the following. How would the Jewish people feel doing business in a building with Adolf Hitler's name in big bold letters on the outside and an auditorium on the inside honoring Hitler and the others who put them in internment camps and slaughtered their ancestors, thus glorifying and honoring the Holocaust? How would you contextualize that? Some slaves were also slaughtered by their masters, some were beaten with whips, some wives were raped and taken by the slave owners, some were maimed, and whatever atrocities the slave owner chose. Some people said that it would cost too much to relocate. I believe that this would be a short-term investment for a long-term benefit. The citizens, including African Americans, make financial investments in this city and count it every day in order to contribute to the needs of the city. I don't think that we should use our revenue to maintain buildings glorifying a slave owner and insurrectionists. To me, this is not only morally wrong, but just wrong, period. Should the city council be remembered for this? Finally, I know that not all committee members feel the same way. Some want it to remain as is and sees nothing wrong with honoring slave owners who fought against our country, the United States, to preserve the South's quote unquote way of life. This city will be celebrating, honoring Juneteenth next year. How are you going to honor freed slaves and honor the slave owner and insurrectionists? That would be like honoring those individuals on January 6, 2021 who fought to overthrow our democracy in order to preserve a lie. I'm sorry, but I cannot do it. It would be your decision, City Council, to accept recommendations or reject them. What will you stand for in this moment, right or wrong? There is no in between. Governor Kemp and the state legislation fixed it so. This shouldn't be a black or white issue. It should be a right or wrong issue. For me, it's a right or wrong issue, and I think it's wrong. Thank you.
That's a recommendation.
That would be my recommendation.
We have a recommendation on the floor. You have a second.
I like to thank Ms. McCoy for her passionate speech, and I could tell that a lot of thought and a lot of prayerful thought, went into that, and I wholeheartedly agree. with everything that you said. And I won't say that that would be my only recommendation, but that would be one of the recommendations that I would make as well.
So there's no second?
I second the motion.
Every motion second that we vote on Ms. McCar's recommendation. Are you ready? Are you ready for vote? Call the name. Call these names.
Oh. Pastor Greg Smith,
Yay.
Reverend McGill,
Yay.
Miss Sheila Hall,
No, no.
Miss Priscilla McCoy.
Aye.
Okay.
It has been voted second that this would be the recommendation that we will give back to the city council.
For clarification, would you be the first motion?
Would I be the first one?
She didn't actually make a motion, but she would need to.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any new business?
Can I clarify? I'm voting that is a recommendation we're voting as a council to send that recommendation back, but not that would be the only recommendation.
Okay, then I need a motion that we
Receive her recommendation to go to the council.
okay, I need a recommendation that we either continue discussing the RLE institution or what you call it, table the next time.
So we're not taking this vote to council, or we are, and you want to bring something next
Yes,
meeting?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to
I
table.
make a motion that we receive Ms. McCoy's recommendation as we have voted, and that we also be open to other recommendations.
Okay.
Second.
Every motion is second that we receive Ms. McCar's representation as one recommendation, and we will table the RLE institution for discussion.
Put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, is there any new business? Anybody any new business? Any things that, any business that need to be put on the agenda for discussion in the future? Yeah, anything we need to discuss in the future? Anybody want to recommend?
Could we also make sure before we leave, we have a time for next meeting?
Like I said, next meeting, only thing we have on the next agenda is minutes. Anything else we need to put on there? Anybody that want to discuss anything else?
I'd like to encourage you all, if you guys, like Reverend McGill, want to invite a guest speaker that has a lot of insight in the community. I think that'd be really good, and that we would need to touch on the results and what everyone saw from the city drive-through tour as well at the next meeting. The next meeting date I would like to suggest is Monday, August 23rd at 1 p.m. So we would have the city drive-through tour the end of this month, and then August 23rd, if that works for you all.
For the next meeting?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 23rd. All minds, sir.
Let me just say, it's my understanding there's an open position on the committee, right?
Correct, for Ryan Tucker's.
Yeah, so the status of that is it's just,
As far as I know, Ryan has not found anyone to fulfill that role yet. But he, is actively searching, so if anyone knows of anyone, reach out to Councilmember Ryan Tucker and suggest that he might nominate them.
Is there any other? Can I get a motion that we adjourn?
For that motion?
Second.
It's been motion and second that we will adjourn this meeting until August
23rd, at 1 p.m.
23rd today. We want to thank everybody for coming and being a part of it.
If you guys need anything, please let me know. I'll be happy to get you documentation or Whatever I can do to help.
Thank you for all you do.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, Doc. Have a great one.